Welcome everyone this evening. This is the League of Women Voters of Manatee County Candidate Forum for Manatee County Commission District 2 seat. I am Ruth Herenshar, President of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan public policy organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. The League has both women and men as members. The League does not support or oppose any candidate or party. This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the websites of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County and Manatee Educational Televisions. Reference can be made to the recording and it can be posted or shown in its entirety. However, it is the property of LWV, and partial showing or posting cannot be used without written permission by the League. The Manatee County Commissioner District 2 candidates are Edward Bailey Jr. and Amanda Ballard. The winner will face the Democratic Party candidate Charles B. Smith Sr. in the general election in November. Today's candidate forum rules call for civility on the part of both candidates and the audience. The hallmark of democracy is the willingness of our community to treat each other with courtesy and respect. It is in that spirit that we are here this evening to engage in a vital part of our democratic process, a civilized discussion of the important issues that confront our communities. Candidates will have 1 minute to answer a question, and at the end of the program, they will have 1 minute for their closing statement. Linda Long is the timekeeper. A bell will ring when the minute is up. When the bell rings, please finish your sentence and I will call on the next candidate. We will alternate which candidate goes first in answering the question. At the end of the forum, the candidates will each give a 1 minute closing to appeal for your vote. We ask all candidates to speak only for themselves and not provide insight into their opponents' positions. There will be no rebuttals. We are ready to get started. Candidate Bailey, the first question. What led you to run for this seat and why should voters choose you to represent them?
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for having the forum today. So what led me to run is I was born and raised in District 2, and I've seen a lot of the decisions come that affect me directly, affect my family members, affect my friends. And I just believe that we need a lot stronger voice in District 2 representing us. Right now, we are seeing a lot of traffic. We're seeing a lot of overdevelopment. We're seeing a lot of infrastructure fails happening in the district. And I just believe that when I get on the board, I'm making decisions that are affecting not only me, but affecting my friends, my family. And if we can get someone in District 2 who offers a new perspective and offers a fresh set of eyes and has a long-term plan, which we seem to be lacking, I think that would do a lot of good for the people of District 2. Like I said, I've been going all around the district, talking with a lot of people, and they are begging and pleading for change. So if I can be that change and be that voice for them, I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you very much. Candidate Ballard, the same question.
So I was led to run due to my work experience and my personal experience living in District 2. So prior to being elected, I spent my entire career as a child welfare attorney here in Manatee County. Doing that work, I saw the underbelly of Manatee County. I saw a lot of things that people would rather not see. I saw drug abuse up close, mental health concerns that were not being dealt with, a growing homelessness crisis, and a growing affordability crisis. So seeing those things for 8 years and having no ability to make changes and feeling like there was nobody at the county level who was really prepared or equipped to handle them is really why I ran. And we have seen for the first time a plan to deal with these issues. We've seen significant reductions in homelessness. We've seen significant reductions in opioid abuse and overdose. And so we are definitely starting to move in the right direction, but it all takes time.
Thank you very much. Candidate Ballard, question number 2. How have you equipped yourself to understand Manatee County's complex issues, including budgeting, development regulations, infrastructure planning, and environmental policy, so that you can make responsible and well-informed decisions as a commissioner?
I will say for any new commissioner, it's a challenge to learn everything that it takes to become a good commissioner. But I have always been a person who is willing to do the work and willing to do the background research that it takes to become informed on issues. And that's exactly what I've done in my position as a county commissioner. I went from working very deeply in a niche area of the law to working in a broad set of public policy areas. And I think anyone who has done the job can tell you there's absolutely a learning curve, and it does take some time to really understand the full scope of what you are doing as a commissioner, regardless of whether you've worked at the county, regardless of whether you've watched meetings in the past. Carol Feltz, I remember, said many, many times, it feels very different being on this side of the dais, and that is true, but you've got to have someone who's willing to do the work and research.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
Yeah, so one of the things that I did at the county, again, I was a commissioner aide, so I got to see kind of the ins and outs of what it takes to be a county commissioner. I was a part of those budget meetings. I was a part of the briefings. The only thing I could not do was vote. But I mean, the commissioner that I worked for Commissioner McCann. We sat for very long hours, many times on weekends and things like that, just going over either the next meeting, the next agenda, and just really breaking down those items. So I had a pretty good view, a view that you usually don't see when you have someone coming into office. You know, that learning curve I won't need it because I was there in the county doing almost what a commissioner does. In fact, Commissioner McCann would call me a co-commissioner, and I really enjoyed the experience that I had there. Again, like I said, the only thing I could not do was vote, but I learned the ins and outs of the government. I was there for over a year, and bringing that along with my experience of being in the district and being a resident here long term, I think that really equipped me to be a county commissioner for District 2.
You. Candidate Bailey, the next question. What are your funding sources and endorsements?
Yes, so all my donors have been local. I have not had any accepted any PAC money. I did receive money from a law firm that I ended up returning, and most of my money has come from me. I believe if I can't bank on myself, then I shouldn't be in the job. But and my endorsements are: I've been endorsed by Commissioner McCann. I've been endorsed by the Bradenton Times, and I've also received the preferred candidate choice for the America First Party of Florida.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, same question.
Sure. So I have received money from a lot of local business owners. I have received funding from several local lawyers. Being involved as a lawyer for as long as I have. I've been a member of the bar for over a decade. I do have a lot of connections there. I did receive funding from 2 affordable housing developers here locally. And I'm very proud of those donations. I think that they're providing the kind of housing that we desperately need within District 2. So happy to accept those donations. I have the endorsement of the sheriff. I have the endorsement of the Manatee Patriots, as well as the firefighters union.
Thank you very much. Candidate Ballard, the next question. What do you see as the 3 most urgent challenges facing Manatee County over the next 4 years, and how will you address them?
So I would say one of our biggest challenges is regaining control over local development decisions. So that has been severely eroded over, I'd say, almost my entire term in office. Everything from SB 180 to the Live Local Act has really hindered our ability to get a handle on growth management in a really proactive way. We've taken a lot of steps as a board that are very positive, but in most cases, they've been hindered by the state. I also believe that, especially for voters in District 2, the issue of affordability is huge. We have a lot of families, a lot of young people who simply cannot afford to live in Manatee County. We have to prioritize affordability so that our young people are not leaving Manatee County, so that they're staying and wanting to see it as something for the future. I also believe that we need to focus on infrastructure within our urban core, our existing infrastructure.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
Yeah, so me and the commissioner agree on a lot of this stuff, actually. The three biggest challenges that I believe are facing District 2 is one, catching up with the growth that was approved over the past few years. Two, affordability and infrastructure is number three. And they're really all connected. I mean, we've seen growth kind of expand way past emergency services, way past roads, way past drainage. And it's taxpayers that are footing the bill for all these developments that we've seen approved. And until we can get a handle on our infrastructure, we just will not have young people staying in Manatee County. We will not have a lot of people staying in Manatee County, to be honest with you. And another thing is we need to make sure that when growth comes in and when a developer gets an approval, they are the ones paying for the impacts of this through the impact fees. Right now, we saw the county commission did not accept 100% back in 2024, and that's a problem. And now the state's now jumping on us and saying that we can't do that. The money's being held up. But this is all the problems that we're facing. And until we get a handle on slowing down the growth and putting the infrastructure in, affordability and all the other things that come with it just will not happen.
You. Candidate Bailey, the next question. Where do you believe county spending should increase or decrease? Please share specific areas where you would prioritize additional investment and areas where you believe reductions are appropriate. Would you make changes to county taxes or to surplus allocations? Provide specific details.
Yeah, so again, the main thing we have to prioritize in anything is public safety, but that's not just the sheriff or EMS. That's also including public works and utilities. Like I said, the infrastructure is failing here in Manatee County, and flooding has become a huge issue. We are not above hurricanes, as we all know. So that's just things that we need to take care of first. As far as where I would look to not necessarily take away from, but where I think we can kind of put a pause on. I mean, the biggest things that we see right now going on in the district are a lot of parks. I can tell you, not a lot of kids are going to parks anymore. We just are moving away from that. And I don't believe we need to continue to build more of those. And plus, they cost a lot of money to maintain them. That's up to the county to maintain them. So I would start moving away from that and start focusing on public safety first.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, same question.
Sure. So this is not just not just an academic exercise. We do have new legislation from the state that does require us to identify 10% of cuts in our budget annually. And so, like Candidate Bailey, I do agree that public safety and infrastructure have to come first. So if there are cuts to be made, those cuts will have to come on those kind of quality of life side of things, anything from parks to our grant funding system. We can also look at charging fees for out-of-towners for things like boat ramps, just so that as we do make the cuts that we need, our residents don't feel the pain, and we can push some of those fees off to our lovely tourists who we appreciate, but not as much as our residents.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the next question. Yes or no? Do you support the proposed constitutional amendment to reduce real estate taxes for most homestead homeowners? If yes, how do you propose adjusting the budgets and expenditures of Manatee County? If no, why?
Sure. So this is a very difficult issue and it's very complex, but I will say people in my district are struggling. They want the money back in their pockets, and I don't blame them for that. County government can adjust. We will adjust. We have gone through difficult fiscal periods in the past, and we have the ability to make the adjustments necessary to lean ourselves up and to ensure that the residents get the services that they want and deserve, but still have more money in their pockets. Our county commission has cut the millage twice in the last over my term so far. So we have tried to give relief. Unfortunately, home prices have ballooned so far that people really didn't feel the relief, even with the tax cuts. So I'd say overall, I'm in favor of the property tax reform, and I think the county will adjust.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, same question.
Yeah, so I absolutely support this because it's going to do a few things. One, payment to income (PTI) will go down for homes, which makes them more affordable for residents, and that's always a good thing. And another thing that it's going to do is it's going to force the county government to really hone in on their budget. And the first thing, and I can say this because I was part of those budget meetings. The first things we're going to have to do is we're going to start eliminating things through attrition and eliminate positions through attrition. And what that means is we're going to take, let's say, the county budgets for 12 attorneys, but we only filled 9 of those positions. Well, we can take 3 of those positions that we were budgeting for, eliminate those, and move that money elsewhere. So maybe we really don't even know the impact that this is going to have on the county. Before I always thought, okay, that's a lot of money we're losing. Who knows how we're going to fund all these services? We might have to make significant cuts. But now I'm not sure, because if you go through the budget, and we're really going to have to focus in on this. If you go through the budget, we might be able to take a lot of money from other places that we aren't really utilizing and move that money elsewhere. So I think this is a good thing, and I support it.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the next question. State lawmakers have recently taken over decisions that were traditionally made at the county level. How do you understand the proper balance of authority between the state and the county? And in what situations do you believe county leaders should push back against state actions that affect Manatee County?
That's a great question. And I've had the opportunity to speak with 3 or 4, gubernatorial candidates on this and about what they're going to do to protect home rule for Manatee County. I mean, we cannot put our wetlands back. We cannot collect on our impact fees. They're taking a lot of decisions away from the county that I just think are really just detrimental to a free society and a free rule. It was Thomas Jefferson that said that the government that governs best is the one that's closest to the people. And I believe in order to take a stand on this, you have to be willing to work and have good people in office representing you in Tallahassee. So I've been making my rounds over this campaign, meeting with the different elected representatives, meeting with the people who are running for representative, and really trying to hone in on, this is what we need for Manatee County. This is what we need you to go up there and represent us on. And as far as these decisions that are happening here, I always say we wouldn't be in most of this stuff if the county never touched them in the first place. So if our wetlands were never removed in the first place, or impact fees were taken during the time that that vote was originally had in 2024, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems. But we do need to push back on the state.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, same question.
We absolutely do need to push back on the state and their encroachment into home rule. And that is exactly what Manatee County has done. So we did file joined a lawsuit against Senate Bill 180 in the county that is preventing us from doing things like restoring our original future development area boundary. That was done actually before I was in office. And as soon as we got the opportunity and had the votes to overturn policy 2128, we did it. As for the impact fee vote, 163.31801 says that we can increase fees up to 25% for 4 years unless we have a demonstrated need study justifying an increase beyond the phase-in allowed by law. In 2024, we did not have a demonstrated need study justifying that. We went in 2025 and got that justified need study.
Thank you very much. Candidate Ballard, the next question. How should the county balance development with environmental concerns, such as our nature tourism economy, open spaces, and wildlife protection? Provide specific details.
Sure. So this is actually something, as tourist development chair of the Tourist Development Council, that I have actually really tried to focus a lot on, and that is bringing in a different kind of tourist to Manatee County. Long term, if we're bringing in tourists who value ecotourism, who value agriculture, and who value the rural parts of our county, then we know that tourists oftentimes convert into business owners, convert into residents. And if we are attracting the kind of tourists who will later become residents or business owners, if we're attracting the kind of people who appreciate those parts of Manatee County, then long term, we will develop the kind of residents that value the kind of development that we want to see and the kind of environmental protection that we want to see. So I think that the county is doing a really good job with our environmental millage right now. We're looking to expand that.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, same question.
Yeah, so I believe the residents here already respect the environmental impacts that are already here. So I mean, first and foremost, it's simple. Development cannot have a negative impact on the environment. It just cannot. And unfortunately, we're seeing that happen more and more often. We're seeing thousands of acres of wetlands paved over for homes. I mean, just last week, I saw a deer running across the road, and that was the second one in a month. So, I mean, this is not something that we're seeing as a new or a old issue. This is all very new. This is all because of the development that we are seeing taking place that is having a negative impact on the pretty much the geographical economy, as I call it. Because right now, what we are seeing is our wetlands are gone. We're seeing our environment detriment. We're seeing flooding increase. All these things are having a negative impact on Manatee County residents. And if you decide to vote for things that are going to have a negative impact on the people, I think that's a problem.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bailey, the next question. What is your plan for improving and protecting our natural water resources? How should the county assure adequate potable water resources for citizens and businesses in Manatee County?
Yeah, so water is a big issue here in Manatee County. I mean, we're being told that we might be a few years away from having to purchase our water from somewhere else. I mean, we're a Bay County, and I can't believe that we even have to have this discussion. But one of the things we have to look at is, one, who are we doing business with here in Manatee County? Mosaic uses a lot of water in Manatee County for phosphate mining, a lot of water. And yet we're being told that residents have to have certain curfews on when they can use it. Mosaic doesn't have a curfew, but we do. So one, we just have to make sure that we are prioritizing people and not businesses when it comes to this, because water is a necessity in life. And right now, we are not the ones that are able to really utilize this service. So one, we have to be better stewards of who's utilizing our utilities. And two, we have to make sure, again, it all goes back to development. We have to make sure that before we approve any more major developments, we have the infrastructure and we have the water quality able to handle it.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the same question.
Sure. So a couple of things come to mind on this issue. Specifically, District 2 encompasses about half of the city of Bradenton. As we all know, Bradenton has struggled significantly with infiltration from into their waterway, and they've had partially treated sewage overflows that have gone into the Manatee River. The county has committed significant funding, federal funding from the disaster relief to help them with that issue. That is a major, major thing that we can do to help this issue in Manatee County. Additionally, we currently are selling some of our water to Sarasota County. I think as Manatee County grows, we need to prioritize our water resources for Manatee County rather than continuing to sell to Sarasota unless the economics make it so that it is more affordable to do so than to join Peace River.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the next question, and it's a bit long. Manatee County partners with numerous nonprofit organizations to deliver many essential social services, and these groups rely on a structured grant process to support their work. If the proposed constitutional amendment changing the real estate tax structure is passed, how would you handle potential reductions in funding for nonprofit organizations? What principles would guide your decisions about where adjustments should be made?
Sure. And so the process for grant making in Manatee County, if the property tax reforms go through, will become much more competitive. It's already a very competitive and very structured process, but it will become even more so if they lose approximately half of the funding available. I think that we have a pretty good system with our Children's Services Advisory Board for how we rank those nonprofits, how we decide. We use that results first program to rank the priorities. There is a very rigorous process. So I think that we will continue that process, and most likely the levels that nonprofits have to reach to be funded will simply go a little bit higher.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
So nonprofits are just a huge part. We have a lot of good nonprofits here in Manatee County that do a lot of great work. And one of the things we have to do is we have to really look through this and say, what are we prioritizing here in Manatee County, and how can we help the people that are really dependent on these nonprofits, so that way the government doesn't have to step into these fights. And the process is a very complicated one to receive these grants. That's something that a lot of people don't know. These aren't just handed out to people. These aren't just, they go through a really rigorous process, these nonprofits, to receive these grants. And then afterwards, the county actually is in charge and supposed to go out and see how are they using the money that we are giving them. So one of the things that I will say is, I believe we do a lot of good work in Manatee County with nonprofits. I believe that the way that the county handles the nonprofits are pretty well. Do we need to look back and say, okay, if this shuts down, maybe we'll have to make some cuts. We got to reprioritize a few things. But I do believe at the end of the day, like I said, if we really hone in on our budget, not a lot of things are going to change. And nonprofits, again, do the work that the government just does not need to be involved in.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the next question. What role, if any, should the county play relative to immigration screening, particularly involving nonprofit organizations that receive financial support from the county?
So the role that the county plays in this is simple. We follow the law. We follow the law. And right now we are doing that. Now, again, it is up to the county when the county goes in to make sure that we are spending our money in accordance to the federal law, and then make sure that the nonprofits are spending the money that we give them in accordance with federal law. And we are doing that at the moment. I believe that if we start requiring these nonprofits to do it and putting more impact on them, and it really focuses away from the work that they're doing, and that will just have a negative impact on society as a whole. So we just need to continue going down the path that we are. Again, we're going to have to make some choices as to who we are funding and things like that. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's up to the county, and it's the county's responsibility to make sure that these nonprofits are spending money in accordance to the federal law.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the same question.
Sure. And so I do think that there's room for improvement here, because this is an issue that the county has not taken on, and that our nonprofit advisory boards, although they do really good work and they work really hard, this is not a question that they have been asked to answer. And this is not something that county staff during their auditing process has been asked to look into. So I do think that there is more room at the county level for us to do those checks, make sure that county grant funds are going to people who are in the country legally. I have no problem with nonprofits funding services for anyone and everyone who they would like to fund, but I don't believe that county tax dollars should be spent for people who are not in the country legally. Now, that being said, I will add very quickly that we have to figure out whether we can do that in a way that's economically feasible and is actually going to save the county money.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, next question. County commissioners often face competing pressures: public opinion, expert recommendations, questions about the neutrality of those experts, and the influence of campaign contributors. How do you balance these factors when making decisions, and what principles guide you in determining whose input should carry the most weight?
So oftentimes for myself, we do to some extent rely on county staff and experts. I think that's a good thing. We've hired them for a reason. We've hired them for their expertise. But that reliance on an expertise of someone from the county or a consultant that's been brought in cannot substitute for your own research. And I will also really caution against something that we are seeing significant amounts of within the past year or two, which is people relying on AI to give them the information that they're looking for versus doing real research and critical thinking. It is so important that we don't outsource our critical thinking to machines or to so-called experts at the county or at a consultant level, and that we take those on as recommendations, but those are not the deciding factor.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
So 3 days into this campaign, I said I was not accepting any money from any PACs or any special interest or anybody that does business around the county, because when you take that money, you kind of give the impression to the people, at least, that your decision's already going to be made. And it's because of what we've seen at the county already in the past few years. At the end of the day, the principles that guide me are you have to listen to the people and go based off of the facts. And that's the way that I'll be on the county commission. And Commissioner Ballard is right. You do have to do your own research. And again, the biggest thing that you have to do is listen to all perspectives and make the decision that's best for the people of District 2 and Manatee County as a whole. Now, have we seen that recently? I don't believe so. But I believe that if we can get a county commission that's actually for the people, it can get done.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bailey, the next question. What important qualities should a county administrator have?
So the county administrator, he has 7 bosses, and that's the Board of County Commissioners. The best thing that the county commissioner, of course, needs to be transparent. He needs to be a good leader. He needs to be able to make good decisions. But if you really want a good county administrator, you need a good Board of County Commissioners, because at the end of the day, it is his job to go and implement the policies that we would be making. And right now, we're seeing a lot of people who have complaints about the county, have complaints about the way the county's running. But again, that's up to the board. The board is the one that makes these decisions. It's just the county administrator who's going out there and has to implement it. He is the executive in the sense of it's his job to execute the mission that the board gives him. So if you want to have a good county administrator, you need to have a good board. And the qualities you need are, again, transparency and be a good leader.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the same question.
Sure. So I think to have a good county administrator, you need someone extremely transparent, extremely communicative, who speaks to all commissioners regularly, whether that takes having 7 conversations every day on every issue. Somebody who is responsive, who is absolutely transparent with the public, and who has the trust of staff. If you have someone who does not have the trust in leadership from the staff, you're going to have major problems. I think that I have had experience with a few different county administrators, and it is very difficult as a new board member to have a county administrator who is not communicative and who does not keep all board members informed. So it's very important.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the next question. Would you propose any different actions for Piney Point and phosphate mining in the western part of the county?
So when it comes to Piney Point, I think that we must stay the course. I think it's unfortunate the way that this was put off for so long and allowed to fester and become a truly dangerous situation for our citizens. But I think that right now we are taking the right actions. I think we're taking the actions that need to be taken. We have to lean on the state and ensure that we get the funding that we were promised to properly close that well. We also need to ensure that once that well is closed, once the deep injection well is finished, that that is sealed off and nothing else can be put down that well. When it comes to phosphate mining, I think we've got a lease that Mosaic has that has been allowed to continue. I say we allow that to continue, but don't allow any expansion of phosphate mining in East County.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
So this is one of those things where you just have to listen to the experts. And I've had conversations with people who said that Manatee County should just take it over. It would save us a lot more money. This is something I'd have to look into and really have more conversations with. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't Manatee County's fault that this happened. So it shouldn't be up on Manatee County residents to pay the bill for this. So we need to make sure whoever's at fault for this, they're the ones that are going to pay for this. And it's not Manatee County residents, and it's not our responsibility to clean up their mess. Now, it is a health issue. So we of course have to take action now to make sure Manatee County residents are safe. But again, we need to go through and really have an investigation on what started this, what happened, and who is responsible, because they're the ones who need to pay Manatee County residents.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the next question, it is a bit long.
Uh-oh.
The county's plans for expanding animal shelter capacity have shifted over time. Should Manatee County go back to its original plan of funding a new East County shelter or construct an additional facility at the Bishop Animal Shelter, or continue to use the prefab kennels that have been installed?
Yeah, we absolutely should not continue to use the prefab kennels. I mean, Manatee County promised the residents something. Manatee County should deliver that to the residents. We have not seen it. I mean, I have a lot of questions about what happened with the money with this shelter and things like that, because I took a tour out there, and I just don't believe that the money that they say we spent was spent on this project. So we'll have to look into that, but we definitely need to go back to the plan that the people were promised and actually go back to the drawing board, get something done here that, one, continues to make the animals safe, and two, makes the residents happy, because at the end of the day, we serve them, not the other way around.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, same question.
Sure. So I am very, very open to finding a solution to the issues at Bishop. I know that there are a lot of people who are concerned with the setup at Bishop, believe that the kennels are too small, and really have an issue with all the outdoor work that's required by volunteers and by employees. And so I am very open to coming up with a solution for a full concrete building. The problem is how we fund it. So I do have some ideas for how to fund that going forward. I'm excited to bring those forward. I think it will be something that hopefully people will appreciate. But I have always been in favor of doing what the people want on this issue, and we have absolutely tried to do so. It's just unfortunate that the construction of Bishop did not live up to people's expectations.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the next question. How will you address affordable housing, workforce housing, and homeless needs in Manatee County?
So I always say when someone asks me these questions, I could talk for an hour, so I will try to be quick. I have taken a very proactive approach on these issues because I think that they affect District 2 residents most acutely. It's a public safety issue, it's a quality of life issue, it's a business development issue in our urban core. So I had lots of conversations with the sheriff when I was first elected and said, what do you need to get a handle on this problem? He said shelter space. So instead of spreading funds over kind of a broken system with a lot of gaps, we decided to fill those gaps with shelter space, utilizing opioid litigation settlement funding so that it's not all on the backs of taxpayers. So we established the first women's shelter, opened in 2025. Late this year, we are hoping to establish the Fresh Start shelter run by the sheriff's office. Then the Salvation Army shelter will transform into a shelter for for youth and families. Really excited about those, but that's only the beginning and only part of the solution.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
So we made some headway in there, but we're seeing a lot of short-term solutions. I would like to see some more longer-term solutions. And the people that I think are equipped to do this are the nonprofits that are already doing the work here in Manatee County. The issues that I'm seeing, and I've had this conversation with them, is they don't have the resources. They don't have the resources to continue to do their work that they're doing. The county has the resources. I mean, we gave land to developers for $1 back in 2024. I can't go into that now. I want to answer the question, but you can look at my website. It's on there. But we have the resources to help these nonprofits out and try and get some real concrete ground here. It's just not happening. So one of the things I'm going to do as a county commissioner is continue to have these conversations with the nonprofits that are located here in Manatee County, not out in Baltimore, Maryland, things like that, but here in Manatee County that are already doing the work, have the numbers, have the data for what they want to see done, and we'll really get some long-term progress here.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the next question. How will you ensure transparency, public engagement, and accountability in county decision-making?
Absolutely. So District 2 we just have not had the opportunity to really have these discussions. And we haven't had town halls in District 2 for years now. What I want to see is more involvement in the community, and that's what I'm pledging to do. So one of the things I want to do as county commissioner, I'm pledging myself to 2 to 3 town halls a year, because that's where you really get to see the people. I mean, you have to meet the people where they are. You cannot just expect the people to come to you. And that's what I pledge to do as a county commissioner. I'm going to go out into the areas, go out and have these conversations, meet with these people on a regular basis, and have an open door policy, because they're the ones that we work for. They're the ones who are going to be affected by decisions like myself, that we're going to make on that dais. So that's what I'm pledging to do. Again, we just need to have conversations with the residents that we represent and are paying our salaries.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bailey, I'm sorry, Candidate Ballard. I need to give you the same question. I apologize.
Sure. So I have been extremely engaged with constituents throughout my tenure as a county commissioner. I actually did start out doing the typical commissioner town halls. Unfortunately for District 2 residents, it didn't really work. When I would have a town hall, it was always the same 4 to 5 people, none of whom lived in District 2. So I shifted my approach. I started going to people where they were already meeting. I started going to churches. I started going to HOA meetings. I started going to community centers, meeting people where they were already gathering to talk about them with the issue, to talk to them about the issues that matter to them in District 2. That has been really, really effective. I want to continue that. If people want to see the structured town halls at the library, I'm happy to do them going forward. But frankly, in my experience, they were not well attended, and they didn't get a whole lot of input from residents.
Thank you very much. Now, Commissioner Ballard, the next question. How would you distinguish your role as a county commissioner from the roles of the administrator and his staff?
So county commissioners are the broad policy setting body for the county. We set the policy, we give the big picture ideas. It is the job of the county administrator and the staff to carry out the ideas and the votes of the board on a day-to-day basis. So how staff does their job on the day-to-day, that is really up to the purview of the county administrator. Now, constituents come to me all the time with issues that they need addressed. And in that respect, I am directing on the day-to-day, hey, this constituent needs help. Could you please help them? But really, we are the broad policy setting body versus the day-to-day on the ground services.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, the same question.
Yeah, so we agree a lot on this question. It is the job of the county commissioners to kind of set the tone for what the county looks like, but we get that from the people. So it's the people up top, the commissioners there, and then it's admin and staff who have to go out and execute those decisions. I was a member of the staff, so I kind of know how this works. It doesn't always work that way. We do see some commissioners who like to ply in and get into the weeds of things, and on sometimes that is a good thing to have a commissioner that is that involved. Of course, you cannot single things out or try and be a dedicated employee of the county, but you do need to have some type of understanding of what's going on in that county building, because I can say there are a lot of people and staff who are not happy with the way the county is operating or the way the county is going. And we need to make sure that they have the ability to speak with people, the county commissioners, that can listen to them and make some changes that benefit them as well, because they're constituents just like we are.
Thank you. Candidate Bailey, this is the last question. What is your approach to transportation planning, including traffic congestion, road maintenance, and long-term mobility solutions?
Of course, like I said, and this has been a big thing in my campaign, we just cannot approve any more major developments until we have infrastructure put in place. If you drive out of your house and you leave around 4:30, you know you're not going to get to your destination until maybe 6. And that's a problem, no matter where it is. And that's a problem. I mean, I remember being able to go drive to the beaches as a kid, and you could get there in 20 minutes. Now, if you get there in 20 minutes, now you got to spend an hour looking for parking. I mean, so we really have to make strong, significant investments into the infrastructure here in Manatee County and District 2 in particular. We do not have the road systems put in place. We do not have the space or the capacity to handle the cars we're letting into the county or moving here. So we just have to continue to go down and look to see, okay, here's what we have. Here's what we need to do. Let's get this done before we do any more major development approvals in Manatee County.
Thank you. Candidate Ballard, the same question.
Sure. So for District 2 in particular, we really have to focus on mobility improvements and functional improvements for our roadways. A lot of our roadways in District 2 are older and they're very constrained. A lot of these neighborhoods were built out many, many years ago, and we simply don't have the right of way to add lanes, etc. But what we can do is functionally improve them, make them better, add turn lanes, and improve drainage, do repaving projects, and make sure that what we have is as absolutely good as it can be. We can also add multi-use trails, as well as sidewalks. We have a lot of pedestrians and people who ride bikes in District 2, and we need to make sure that we are able to cater to them and their needs as well. We have invested in a trail system throughout District 2 as well as throughout other parts of the county, so I think that will improve mobility as well.
Thank you. Thank you both. That was our last question. So, Candidate Ballard, please begin with your 1-minute closing statement.
So, I have served in Manatee County for 12 years. My entire career, I have been a public servant, whether that was serving children who were abused and neglected in Manatee County or serving my constituents as District 2 Commissioner. I am 100% dedicated to this job. I will always answer the phone. I will always have an open door policy, whether you agree with me on things or not, regardless of party, regardless of affiliation, I will be there. And my constituents, I think, will absolutely tell you that. I'm very proud of that. And I will continue that kind of hands-on representation throughout District 2 in my second term. We have made so many improvements when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to our parks, and giving District 2 the kind of areas that they deserve as compared to other parts of the county. And we've really made a lot of gains when it comes to our homelessness and addiction situation as well.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bailey, your closing statement.
Well, again, thank you all for having this. Thank you all for inviting me. And, at the end of the day, this campaign isn't about me. It's about the future of Manatee County. The decisions that we are making today will shape Manatee County for decades. And I'm running to make sure those decisions are made with the people and not the special interest in mind. So, we have to continue to make sure that the next generation has the same opportunities that I remember as a kid growing up here. And I'd be honored to earn the trust and the vote of the residents of District 2. Again, I'm pledging that I will work for you, not special interests, not for the developers. I work for the people of District 2 and the people of Manatee County as a whole. And I'll be honored to have your vote in August and hopefully November as well.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County, thank you, candidates Edward Bailey Jr. and Amanda Ballard for participating, and thank you to all of you for attending this virtual candidate forum. Tonight's discussion offered voters valuable insight to help make thoughtful, informed choices in the upcoming primary election. The League is hosting forums for most primary races at the federal, state, and county levels. To view the full schedule, register for upcoming events, or share nonpartisan resources with friends and neighbors, please visit the League of Women Voters of Manatee County website at lwvmanatee.org. That concludes this evening's candidate forum. Again, thank you to the candidates and to our attendees.